Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to show how to make simple, fast gift bags. I hope you'll stay tuned. Well, these gift bags lay flat, and I came up with this design on my own, and I'm happy with the way they've turned out. And the reason I've been making them is because I have this paper pad that I don't like it. I'm tired of it. I don't want it anymore. And I thought, what better way to get rid of it than to use it on making these gift bags. And they're pretty significant in size. Let me give you the measurements. They fold flat. If I didn't say that already, they do fold flat. And they're 10.5 inches tall. Well, maybe 10 inches tall. I'm going with 10 inches tall by 10 inches wide, and across the bottom they are 3 inches. So they're significant in size. And when you open them up, I'll open one so you can see it. Hopefully you'll be able to see the whole inside of this. Let me lift it up so you can see in there. It's that big. I mean, that's pretty significant. You definitely can put a pair of jeans or a shirt in it. And this one in particular, I used 3 different papers on, so you don't have to have matching papers. And what I found was this paper pad, I got it at Michael's. It was in those bargain paper pads. They only gave 2 of each pattern, so then I had to supplement with a third, you know, two of one pattern and then another pattern for the bottom and the sides. And so far they've all come out pretty cool. This one has a little tag on it. So let's get started and we'll make one. The one I'm making this time, I decided for my side and my bottom piece that I was just going to use black cardstock. So the first thing you're going to need is 2 pieces of 10 by 8, and then you're going to need 2 pieces of 4 by 11. I'm pretty sure. I want to make sure I say that right. Yep. And then the last piece is 10 by 4. That's the base. So here's the base. These are the sides, and this is the front and back. So let's get scoring. We're going to start with the front and back because they're very simple. I decided that I wanted to use the fact that it's got a white back and fold over the top so that the white shines through. So I'm going to turn it on the 12-inch length. And I'm going to score this one at 1.5 inches on the top. And then I'm going to flip it over so that the 1.5 inches on this end. And I'm going to score this piece. This is going to be our back, and I need this to have this score on it so it will lay flat. It's a 3-inch score. That is going to make it so it lays down. So this is my back. It's all the scoring you need. Your front, all you need is the 1.5 inch score at the top. Then we're going to go on to our side panels. Now these side pieces would have been better if I hadn't used thick black cardstock. I kind of wish I hadn't, but what I found was a thicker black cardstock. So unfortunately, it might not fold the way I want them to when I go to flatten it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to score on the 4-inch length. We're going to score it at 1/2 inch. And I like to double score these just so I'm sure they're good. I'm going to flip it all the way around and do it again at 1/2 inch. Okay. Then I'm going to turn it. Doesn't matter which end you do this on, unless your paper has a pattern. If your paper has a pattern, then you want it to face, the pattern to face this way, to face toward the right. Okay, so then I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch and at 3.5. Then I'm going to put it back at the top and the 4 inches, and I'm going to score at 2 inches down to the score we just made at 3.5. So hopefully you'll be able to see this. You'll have 3 score lines here and 2 score lines there. Doing it again so you'll be able to get the gist of it. 1/2 inch. Ooh, fell out of the track. 1/2 inch. I'm going to turn it around and do the other 1/2 inch. Jeez, it fell out of the track again. What the heck, Sandy? I'm not playing this game very well today. I'm going to do it one more time just so I'm sure it's well scored. I'm doing it on this side again too, because I jumped out of the track on both sides. Alright, then you're going to do 1 score at a 1/2 inch. I'm going to move this toward me so I can see it better. Maybe you can see the markings at the top better. I'm going to score it at a 1/2 inch. I'm going to score it at 3.5. Then I'm going to turn it back to the 4 inch length, and I'm going to score it at 2 inches down to that score I just made at 3.5. Okay. Then my back, or my bottom piece, this is the one that's 10 inches long by 4 inches. This one we're just going to score at a 1/2 inch on the 4 inch length, 1/2 inch. I'm going to flip it around, and we're going to score it on a 1/2 inch again on the other side so that it's easier for me to score. I'm left-handed, so when I try to score on the far end of my scoreboard, I don't seem to be as successful at it. Those are the only 2 scores you need on the bottom of your bag. Now, I'm going to move my scoreboard out of the way, but I'm not done scoring. On those 2 side pieces that we did, oops, not that one, these 2. The ones that have the 2 inch score that goes down to the, hopefully you can see this. Can you see this score line that goes across, and then this score line that goes across? In order to make this work really well, when I go to fold it to fold the bag flat, I need to make scores from that middle 2 inch score line that we made down to, I'll show you this, down to the corner of the box that it's in. And I'll show you this. Hopefully you can see it. You see this box right here? It's like a square. You only want to stay inside that for that score. Same thing on this side. You just want to start at the center point and you just want to score down to the bottom. And you want those score lines to be pretty full, I guess I'll call them, because you want to make sure that this will bend. We're going to do the same thing with the other side. Again, from your center point up here down to the corner. And again, I'm really going to do a good job of scoring that. Same thing on the other side. Okay, so those are all the scores. We're now done scoring. Now we just need to do a little bit of trimming, and then we're in good shape. We're ready to put it all together. First off, on our front and back pieces, I on the 1.5 inch score that you did at the top, remember how this is going to fold down? I want you just to round the 2 top corners. Just the corners on the top. Come on, buddy, get in there. Okay. We're going to do that on both of our front and back. Make sure it's that 1.5 inch score. It's up by that score that you're doing this trimming. Got it? That's all you're going to do on that. Then you're going to get your scissors and your 2 side pieces, and we're going to cut this score out in this score out. Okay? Like that. I'm going to do it on this side too. You're going to cut this score out and this score out. And when you do this, then I also want you to cut a little notch, because you don't want this extra paper in your project. Cut this little notch, and then I want you to cut on the side. I want you to cut this at a little bit of an angle, and this side at a little bit of an angle. Not a ton, just enough that it's not going to be in the way. Then at the very top, same thing. I'm going to want you to just cut a little notch there from the score line to the side. Very little. I'm going to do it this angle. It's easier for me to see the angle. Okay? There. That's that piece. Then we're going to do the same thing on this one. I've been doing a lot of these bags, so the way I do my trimming is I start in here like that up to the score, and then I cut just a little bit of an angle that way, and it's faster to do it this way. I just showed you on the first one so you could see how to do it, but I didn't give you like the quicker system. See how easy that was? Then we're going to again, on these top ones, you're just going to go from the score to the edge. This is going to make it so that when you put your bag together, that if you had any chance of this showing on the edge, like on the sides, that you would no longer see those, because you've just moved them out of the way basically by cutting them. All right, so now we're going to fold and burnish our scores. This paper is much thicker than I wanted it to be, as I said, and I couldn't find my thinner black paper. I don't know where it is, but it would have been really beneficial if I had found it. Just saying. Wish I had found it. The one nice thing about this paper, though, is it doesn't really crack. The paper that I bought from Michael's, the 12 by 12 papers, boy, do those crack. That's also why I didn't want to have to worry about using them, cutting them, and folding them, because they do crack. So that's, so far, those are the folds I want to make on these. I'm going to fold in the bottom. People ask me about my bone folder. It's from Fiskars. They no longer make it, but you usually can find it on eBay. Not very expensive, but I do really like it, because bone folders for the most part are not made for people like me that can't hold traditional shaped things. And this one gives me a spot for me to stick my middle finger to really stabilize that head. And that head makes it nice, because then I have a bigger surface to rub with. And if this isn't big enough for you, the other thing I recommend is this is a kitchen scraper, and it's just plastic. It's made by Progressive something. I can't read what it says, the next word. But anyway, this works really well too. This one just has 2 side scores on it. So I'm going to fold them up, and then I'm going to use my faux bone folder. But this works nice, again, if you need something bigger to hold, something like this will work well for you. You could always use a ruler as a bone folder, or a butter knife, like the back of a butter knife. I just like to give you options that are inexpensive, or alternative ideas that'll work for you. So that's our base. Those are our sides. Now for our top and our bottom, you do not really need to fold that 3-inch score, but I'm going to do it anyway, just so it's ready to do. It's folding whenever it needs to be. This is our top 1.5-inch scores, and these are just for, we'll call it beautification purposes. I just want it to look pretty, and I think that by rounding the edges and cutting it off, it does look nice. Okay, this is the other piece with the 1.5-inch score. Okay, so that is all of our folding. Now it's just a matter of putting our bag together. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to start by putting my tear tape on the bottom of our bag. And I'm just going to put a row of tear tape closer to the top. And then I'm also going to add wet glue because I have found that I like to have that wiggle room that they give you when you use both tear tape and wet glue. If you don't use both of them and you just use tear tape and you don't lay it perfectly where you want it the first time, you can end up with a really nasty problem on your hands where you've got the paper askew and you can't fix it because you can't really tear it off. And then next up I'm going to put tear tape on the bottom. We're going to put the tear tape on the underside of our bottom flap. And I am going to put 2 lines there. I have to do one off screen because I want to make sure I got it as close to the bottom edge as I can. Okay, so that's my bottom piece, and I've put double-sided adhesive, 2 strips of that there. On the sides, I'm still going to put it on the outside of my sides. When you do double-sided tape, when you use it, I always recommend that you really rub it in, because the most frustrating thing is when you try to take the backing off and the backing doesn't want to come off because it seems like it's just becoming one with the whole thing wants to just rip off together, and I don't like to deal with that. So if you push on it really hard, rub it all in, you shouldn't have it come back off, the whole thing. You should be able to just pull off only your backing tape, which is what you're shooting for. That's okay. Now the only thing we have left to do is I'm going to put a little bit of tear tape underneath this 1 1/2 inch score at the top of my bag, because that'll hold the bag in place. And I might actually put 2 pieces there, one about halfway down. And so then if I use this to hold my ribbon, it's ready to go. I came up with this design because I was looking for an idea that would allow me to use up as many 12 by 12 pieces of cardstock as I could. And I'll give you the name of this paper pad, even though I'm sure it's no longer available. I got it at Michael's a couple of years ago in their bargain bin. Here's what it's called. Royal Gypsy, it's die cuts with a view. I'm going to tell you this. If you have a chance to buy the Michael's bargain bin papers, you know, the ones that are in that thing that sometimes are $19.99, but you can get them 70% off, my recommendation is, unless you are going to use that paper exactly as it is and not fold it at all, buy it. If you're going to fold it or do anything with it where you need it to be pliable, don't buy it, because their papers crack really easily and they're just problematic, in my opinion. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the back of my bag to the bottom of my bag, and I'm just going to take off the backing on 1/2 of my bottom, and then I'm going to put some of my Barely Art glue, the rest of, I'll show you this as soon as I get it on. Okay, that's how much glue I put on there. And you want it as kind of as straight standing up as you can get it, because that makes it easier to attach the paper to it. And what I do is I line my bottom and my paper up, so hopefully they're perfectly aligned. And then I make sure that you can't see the white bag. Let me turn it this way. You don't want to see the white bag right here. I'm going to push it down, but if I have to move it, I probably still can. And then on this side, you want to just make sure that this lines up with that bottom edge. Exactly. You with me? See that? Okay. We'll use the bone folder on it again in a minute. But Well, I'm going to use it now. I'll just rub it for a second. Back to my glue. Again, I'm just going to run a bead along the bottom. You want to make sure that your 1.5 inch fold is at the top, the furthest away from your bottom. And then you want to line this up, laying it flat on your desk, making sure that both of your sides are straight. Okay, now you see this? This is not what you want. I didn't do a good job of lining it up. I mean, I lined it up from side to side, but it's too low. So you want to make sure you go back in. This is why you put the wet glue on it. You want to go back in, reline it up, so that hopefully your bag is straighter than it was. So you're going to just want to make sure it's really well adhered. Give it time to set up. Use your bone folder on it to make sure that it is going to be well adhered. Your back and your bottom. That's what it looks like right now. You with me? So now we're going to put on one of our sides. And when you put your sides on, the sides are kind of the trickiest part to put on, because you end up having to make sure that you've got everything adhered without losing your mind. That's all I can say. It really does help if you've got your paper really well scored. You're going to fold this piece down. You got it? So far, that's the tricky part. Then you're going to pinch these two pieces in, and you're going to lay your side even on your score marks on the very edge, and then you're going to push it down inside to get that adhered. So far, so good. Then you're going to pull your side up, laying it right up to the edge of your cardstock. The easiest way to do this side, I think, is to then just kind of lay your paper onto it. This side is the easiest of the two sides. And you want to make sure you pull your paper so that your paper is taut all the way up to the top. Then I'm going to stick my hand inside, and I'm going to really pinch it. Rub it down. If you think you need to scooch it a little bit out, then do that. Next, we'll take the backing off our last side. We've almost got this bag made. All right, back to my wet glue. I'm going to set the bag up straight like that. And as I said, the easiest way to do this is to push your bottom in and to pinch the two side pieces back. But what you want to do first is kind of lay that little bottom piece inside, right up to the edge of the inside of your bag, making sure that that piece is right to the edge. I'm going to have to lay it on its side, I think, to get it in there easily. Well adhered. Okay. Let me see from the other side how this piece looks. If you can see black, like on the edge here, then you know you need to wiggle this paper around. And if you're past the wiggle time, like if you've waited too long and your glue is already set up, then my advice is to trim if you can. Like if this goes over the edge, you can always trim that excess off. And right now, our bag is pretty much made. I'm not going to fold it in so that you can see how it will fold flat until I think that glue is really well set up, because sometimes it doesn't bode well for you to do that. Now I think I'm going to use the same blue ribbon that I've been using. I cut out all of the little sayings that I found in the paper pad. Most of them were kind of weird for gift bags, like believe in the good. Good things happen to those who hustle. No, not going to use those. Always look forward. Not so much. Spread your wings and fly. Maybe. This is the one I thought I might use, is make today ridiculously amazing. But I'm going to use that on another bag. This is the one I really like. Today is your day. I'm not sure about wild and free. Like I said, for the reason I bought this pad was it had some designs I really liked in it that had, like this one, that had like gold seals, and they had a lot of gold inspired things. But when you get down past the ones you really like, then you're stuck with patterns that you're not so excited about. And I'll show you the ones I'm not so excited about. These ones that say wild and free. This one that's just feathers. And I thought these coins were a little bit suspect. I don't know what to do with those. Anyway, those are the ones. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with those. But I'm really happy that I'm using up as much of this paper pad as I have been, because, you know, every time you make one of these bags, you use up basically 3 sheets, which is great. So let me, I'm going to trim this piece out. Then I'm going to round the corners on it. I also, with this laminator, got this, which is also really cool. It is a little hole punch, and it makes kind of a bigger hole punch than most people like, but it's a hole punch. And so I'm going to use that too. And I think what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to start my ribbon underneath and flip it over the top like I did on the other one. And I still might glue a paper strip over it. The problem, if I do lay a strip over here, is this is going to go a different direction from the paper down below. But I still think you might be interested in seeing that. So what I did was I cut 1-inch strips. First thing I did is I cut off 2 inches. Well, I cut off about 1.75 inches. And then I cut them to 1 inch each, so that when you glue them onto this, see how you have a nice border on either side. I still think I'm going to do that. And then if I do it this way, then I can't glue the ribbon underneath. So I did use about half this. So I used about, I guess I used about 18 inches, but I'm not going to give myself that much room to work with because I want to tie that saying on. And I'm going to make a mark 2 inches from the edge. And 2 inches from this edge, like that. And then I'm going to put down just a little bit of tear tape there, and that will hold the ribbon in place that we're going to put down. And then to do the other side, it's much simpler because you don't have to make any marks. All you're going to do is on the other side of the bag, you're going to use this side as your template. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take one of your lengths, you're going to lay one end right up to the same edge, and then you're going to make sure it's straight, you know, all pointing the same direction, and you're going to wrap it around and lay it on this one. Again, making sure it's straight. Then we're going to take one of our little strips, and I'm just going to put some tear tape in the center of it, and again we'll use the we'll use our wet glue on this because we don't want to have it stick in the wrong place, you know, as always. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bag, well, I'm going to take the backing off of these because this makes it so much simpler. So this is what you put underneath your flap. And then you're going to just pinch your flap down and it'll stay permanently because of what you just did. Then you're going to take this. I always line up one side of it, making sure that it's right up to my edge, getting it straight. That looks pretty straight. What do you think? Pretty straight? I like the little bit of design. It makes it look a little bit more like you put a lot more work into it. Just my opinion, but I do think that when you add this little extra strip of material, it looks better. Second verse, same as the first. Only this is where I get to show you the easier way to do your ribbon. You're going to make sure it's all nice and adhered. Okay, now remember, I'll show it to you from the side. Since this piece and this piece are right there, you should be able to just copy where you want the tear tape on the top. So what I'm going to do, unfortunately I have to have it face me when I do this. The way I like to do this part is I just kind of eyeball, I put the tape directly over where the other ribbon is, and then I just cut that little piece off. Now this might be a little bit off. It's not going to be a lot off because you're laying the ribbon, or you're laying your tear tape directly over where the ribbon is. I'm going to show it to you from the side again. Hopefully you can see the tear tape, because if you can, that'll help you. Do you see what I did is I just took my roll. I'll show you this. I just took my roll and I basically put my roll onto the ribbon, and then I was able to just put it across there. Same on this side, just rolled it across. So that's how I did it. It's hard to show it when it's when the bags are these size. It isn't as easy to show everything on camera because the bag takes up so much room. I don't know if you've noticed this, but I have been really into gift boxes, gift bags, the whole shabeel, and I have to say, I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon. So if you're thinking to yourself, oh crap, see, if I have to watch one more video of you doing this, I'm going to scream. I'm sorry, you're going to be screaming, because I'm really enjoying doing this. And the other thing that I'm enjoying is the idea that not right now, but at Christmas time, I think you know that I give a lot of the diamond paintings and the things I make, I give to a senior assisted living facility where my girlfriend works. And last year I didn't put anything in bags, or I didn't gift wrap anything, and I thought that was kind of, I don't know, it's just not as good as I want it to be. I wanted to have a nicer presentation. And so the other thing I'm going to do this year is I have a lot of Christmas paper that I haven't used that I really want to get rid of, because every year they come out with such beautiful papers, and when you already have 2 or 3 pads of Christmas paper, you definitely don't need any more. So anyway, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be making a different styles. I'm going to come up with some different handles, different, just different types of gift bags. And when I cut these to 10 1/4 inches, you can see I've got a little bit left over here. I would much rather cut that off and have extra than have it be just a titch short. Titch, that's a word, I'm pretty sure. There is the, wait, that's the back, because it's got the 3-inch fold. I think this is good. This is dry enough that I can fold it. So your folds in your sides, that angular one that you made. So when you do this, you want this big inner, the score that we made that goes down to our 3.5 inch mark. It stops right there, and then it goes off in a triangle from here. You have the score on the back that's at 3 inches. So what you want to do is you want to pinch in your sides so that those center pieces fold. And then you just want to kind of play with the pieces right here, the V shape. And you see how that kind of poked in? That's that 3-inch score in the back. it lines up with the score line that we made in the center of the bag. And then all you're going to do, after you've got that to that place, because this paper is so thick, remember I said I wish I hadn't used such thick black paper. Because it's so thick, it's fighting me in laying flat completely, so I'm not going to push it the rest of the way. But if you want yours to fold flat, I would not use a very thick side paper. It's not that it won't fold, it's just that I'm afraid that if I do fold it, I might destroy the texture. Hold on, I might as well fold it, right? It's all about manhandling it. Okay, it's almost flat now. There we go. There we have it. So now all we have to do is put our tag on that I cut out. All I did was I rounded it. It says today is your day. And I'm just going to thread through a little bit of ribbon, the chiffon ribbon I use for everything else. You don't need a ton of this ribbon for this. All you're going to do is you're going to put it, we're just going to wrap it around one of our ribbon handles. Then I'm just going to take my scissors. If you pinch your ribbon in half, like that, hopefully you can see that, and then you take it and angle it from the outside, or from the inside to the outside, you end up with that fishtail end on your ribbon, and it makes it look kind of like a bow, even though it's not a bow. I'll show you on this side. You're going to pinch your ribbon in half, like that. Then you're going to go from the inside toward the outside, and then you get that little fishtail look. And when you flatten it, hopefully you can see this, it looks like a bow. Oh, one more thing I wanted to tell you. You have these strips that are left over from this. If you wanted to, this is completely up to you. If you remember, this is a 2-inch wide strip because we made these 10 inches by 12. So I've got a 10-inch strip. So you're going to take this and you're going to cut 4 inches. So you're just going to take something that you have, I'm using a skewer. You're going to put it in at the 2-inch mark. I can't figure out what I did with my stylus, in case you wondered why I'm doing it this way. I'm just going to fold that in half. The other thing I don't know if you know is when you score paper, you should always score the inside or the back of it, and then it makes it so that it folds better. If you want to make an envelope for it, let me show you that very fast so that you know what you're doing on envelope making. You want a very thin paper for this part. Copier paper is fine, or a little bit thicker. So in order to make the envelope, what you're going to do is you're going to measure your card you just made from corner to corner. And mine is about 2 3/4 inches. Can you see that? Then you're going to add 1 inch to it. So that's 3 3/4 inches. So then you want to cut a square of paper to 3 3/4 inches. So 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. Then all you're going to do, this is very, very fast. I recommend this very highly when you want to make envelopes. Then you're going to take your card and you're going to center it in your square. And you want your square to be shaped at this point to be sitting like a baseball diamond. Okay? So you want to put this in the center of your baseball diamond. Then you want to wrap in. I'm going to get a hold of my paper. You want to wrap in your sides and you want to crease it. And then wrap in this side and crease it. Wrap up the bottom, crease it, and then wrap down the top and crease it. Now the only piece that you really need to trim at this point, you're going to want to trim the top. I'll show you just a second. I want to get my top straight. You want to make sure that when you pull this out, do you see these, this triangle right here and right there? You don't want those. So what you're going to do is you're going to, following the line of your paper, you're going to just kind of do it like this. And then, because you don't want any like abrupt starts and stops. Like that. You see what I did? Same thing on this side. You're going to go with the lines that I made down to this line. And then over to this one, again, curling it off like that. You can do the same at the bottom. You don't have to, but it does make a nicer looking finished card envelope. Like anybody's going to look at this, I doubt it, but you never know. Like that. And then back to our crazy wet glue that doesn't want to be my friend. You also, some people do not like to have this big point at the top. I don't mind that so much. What I don't like is when the point is seen. See it right there? I don't like that. So I'm going to just hide that by cutting off just a little bit of it, like that much, so that when I put my envelope together, you no longer see it. You're going to just put a little bit of glue there, and a little bit of glue over there. And you're just going to fold that up. I need to put a little bit of glue overlapping that little spot. And then all you need to do, you just put your little card in there, and you've got a cute little envelope. You can even round that corner. Okay, so here it is. Here's my little envelope and my little card. And I can put that right inside my gift bag so that when I do use this gift bag, it's already got its envelope and card. So I hope that you enjoyed this and that you give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. And please tell your friends about me on social media because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.